jump right in. Sections in it, and I have to agree with you. Now it works a little different with World of Tanks. Um, you can play the game up to a certain point without making any kind of purchases and still do okay in the game. But as you progress higher up in the tiered levels of the tanks, it gets harder to make money, harder to earn experience without getting some kind of XP boost or credit boost. I mean,
It's
it can still be done, but it's a lot more work you have to put into it.
I'm gonna have to say probably the best example of how the microtransactions can be executed is probably the way they're doing it on Halo and the way they're doing it on Neverwinter Nights. Both games I've played without dropping an extra penny other than the initial purchase. I haven't had to buy any power ups. There seems to be plenty of points to be able to do that stuff. So it's a completely optional thing for players that just don't have the time to screw with playing the game for 48 hours straight. Um,
And if I
that
could
I'm
interject
okay
real quick,
with. But
that's the benefit in World of Tanks too. You don't have 40 hours to put in it, like you said, Gary. These boosts help out with that tremendously. You go on.
but
Sorry.
but like with some games, like especially on the mobile market where it's so out of control, you get something like Candy Crush. It's literally impossible to get so far into the game. You just hit this brick wall and you're shut down, and then you start shelling out money. And then by the time you've shelled out $50, you may have only made it maybe 10 more levels in.
Okay,
Wow.
I'd like to at least say I think there's a couple different scenarios on different games we might be referring to. There are these games where um, you're really paying to either keep up with everybody, or you're paying to be able to beat the game, like the pay to win type scenario,
Yeah.
which people argue about and stuff. And that to me is there's a lot of conversation we can have about different ones. And just to introduce like my game, and I know I've talked to all you about it, that I was completely addicted to. Yeah, it's been lots of money. Is the it's called Command and Conquer Tiberian Alliances,
Right.
and absolutely, I'm just gonna throw it in here. You cannot play the game and not only does really want to put money into it, but like there's at some point where if you don't start putting some money into it, you're just left behind. You'll get completely get destroyed with you have to use some money. It's one of those where you have to kind of put money into it.
Yeah, you
But
get
there
And
are
it
left
backs you in a
behind.
there's
corner.
Well, when you say you have to put money into it, are you looking like, $5 or $10 a month, or is it like $1 a
um
day when you play?
I limited myself to $5 a day.
Oh wow.
um but I can tell you that you can you can spend up. I think there were like five, and then it jumped to 10, and then 25, and I mean you can do all the way up to $50. Um, and I don't know. It's pretty incredible. It's quite addicting, and like you said, you're like, I just need to stay away from that game.
But do you think it's fair that they design? I mean, I realize it's a free to play game, but do you think it's all right for them to kind of back you in a corner to where if you want to get past a certain designated point in the game, you have to pay some money? I mean, I realize it's a free game, so
it's
I don't know.
it's you're what you're saying is actually completely false. They say it's free, but it's not. I
Hmm.
mean, if you don't put some money into that game, you will never make it anywhere.
And I don't know how
Right.
the Android marketplace is, but on iPhones and on iPads, it used to be like when you're in the App Store, if Clash of Clans would cost $2.99 to buy, it would say $2.99, or if it was free, it would say free. Now it just says get, so you don't even know until you've actually hit it and downloaded the game and you're
Now,
into it.
one thing I will say on the Windows Mobile Marketplace, because I'm probably the odd duck out here that actually has it, but it'll actually say how much the app is, and below it, it'll say there are microtransactions with this application, or in game purchases, or
Hmm.
in app purchases, and it lets you know ahead of time because I'll look at that and I'll be like, screw that one, and I move on through.
So maybe we need to draw a distinction between microtransactions in mobile games versus microtransactions in console or PC games
PC.
because they actually work a little different.
That's true.
Absolutely.
Because the mobile
Um,
market that's how it survives is off those little microtransactions. And they're usually not that bad when you buy a $50 game and they want you to buy a $50 pile of points to be able to experience your guy up or level your guy up or whatever, then that's completely different.
Well, let's take this for instance. I play NBA 2K16, and you have this thing, and it's called My Player, where it's with the Xbox. They scan your face in, and it literally lays your face on the player that you want. So you play up through like your college year all the way up to your rookie year, and then you're just in the NBA like everyone else. Well, during the game, you have certain goals that you have to meet. You meet these goals, you get a certain amount of points. So to make it all the way from, rookie, terrible player, all the way up to the best player in the NBA, it'll take you like 6 seasons, and that's 82 games a season, 12 minutes a quarter, 4 quarters. It's a long, long time. Or you can buy these packs for, $10, $20, $50 that will allow you to boost your character up. So you go online and you instantly, you can't even play online unless you have invested the money into it, because there are so many people that already have. And it's like it's kind of ruined it, because I won't go online and play anymore, because I don't want to invest $150 just to get this virtual player up so I can play with everyone else.
Yeah. Uh-oh, we lost his audio.
Who's?
James' audio cut out on me for a little bit.
Oh, it was fine on my end.
Oh,
Okay,
was it?
so-
Then it was probably just me dropping.
So let me just say there is obviously the other side of the coin. And I think all of us here, I know Gary Jr.'s at least played the Guild Wars 1, but Guild Wars 2 absolutely has microtransactions out the I mean every possible thing you could think of in the game, there's a microtransaction for. However, it has to me it has absolutely no effect on the game
Yeah.
whatsoever.
Guild Wars 1 did the same thing. When you bought like an extra tab for your inventory, that's completely irrelevant to the gameplay. That's just an extra place to stick stuff. That's not a big deal. And it was only like $2. Or you could
But
buy like 5 more tabs for 10 or something
yeah, and
like that.
I want you to know what they've done with Guild Wars 2 to make it balanced out is that if I go in and buy that tab with real money, the other people can get the in-game money, switch it to crystals, then the crystals can purchase those same things that you bought with real money.
See,
So,
that's the way Neverwinter works.
yes.
And
There's actually several there's a new game I started playing, it's called Devilion, and it actually has every piece and part that you can do in the game. Those guys that go in and play for 18 hours a day and stream online and they have nothing else to do but play. They can go in and actually get all the same stuff that you can buy with real money by taking the in-game money and switching it to these different currencies.
All right, well, let me ask you this. Let's say that, and Dave, you and I talked about this the other day with Forza, how I wanted to gift you a car, but the car was in a certain car pack, and I'm like, can I gift this to you? And you're like, yeah, but I won't be able to use it unless I buy the pack. So for like Guild Wars, is it like you've bought all the special equipment, the special stuff, and then we're in a guild together, you can just give that to me, or you can give it to another
Absolutely.
account?
The thing is, most of the stuff you buy through with real money is account bound,
Okay.
so it's bound to my account. I can't give it away. However, in Guild Wars 2, you can go to the menu system and say, there is a little picture of a present, and you can click on that and say, I'd like to give this to someone. And anyone on your friends list or in your guild, I can say, give them this item and voila, they have it.
Now, see, that sounds like microtransactions done right. I have no problem with cosmetic microtransactions or the ones that help you with your inventory. Those are innocuous, like you said, to the actual gameplay. But when you can buy a weapon that gives you plus 50 damage or whatever, or armor that makes you uber, that I have problems with, especially if you're playing in an online competitive game
yeah,
where
like
that's
World of
all added.
Tanks.
Well, see, it doesn't work that way in World of Tanks. Now, they've got the XP and the credit boost with the premium account, as they call it, and that's to help with people like myself who don't have all the time in the world to play in that game or more EXP in a short amount of time. Now, that doesn't keep people who do have time to do that from getting it too. They get further ahead, but you know, pluses and minuses for the system. What you can buy in terms of usable hardware are what they call premium tanks, and they give you a boost to experience earned in those tanks and as well as credits. But they're set to be just under the tanks that are already in the game. In other words, you get a tier 8 premium tank, it'll never be as powerful as an in-game tier 8 tank that's already there, but it won't. But it can still hold its own.
Right.
So it doesn't really give you an edge in killing your opponents, but it does help you in other ways, and I'm okay with that too.
See,
Well, let me ask you this: would you have ever if the World of Tanks is free, right?
Yes.
Okay, I believe it's free on Xbox, PC. I don't know,
Yep.
what other systems, but would you rather have all the games be free and then you just pay to
Pay for
play
the
type?
pay for the content that I want. That I might be open to that kind of idea.
Because I mean, I look at I watched a video. I don't know if it was Hearthstone or League of Legends, but some guy literally was opening up packs and he spent $3,000 and he broadcasted it on Twitch, where he's like, "Let's see what cards I got," and he just kept doing it and doing it and doing it. And I watched one on Saturday where Call of Duty just released the new maps for the new DLC, and they had a weekend sale on these crypto things where you unlock them. Takes 10 of them to buy a crate, and you can get guns or skins or armor and stuff like that. This guy spent $200 and did the exact same thing. And he was like, "Well, I got no guns." He wanted to get this knife, and he wanted to get a skin for it. The video was 15 minutes. He got nothing that he wanted. He got a lot of skins for guns that he didn't use, and he got a lot of armor that for characters that he didn't use. So it's just like, and the same with Plant. I think it was Plant Side 2. I don't know if you guys ever played that.
Yeah, I played
But
it.
that was another one where you could drop a lot of money.
Planet Side was one of them I never got a chance to try, but I heard a lot of good stuff about it.
I'd also like to ask, this is kind of like a different scenario. And speaking of Forza, okay, Forza, to my understanding, that at some point they need to make a game that they can give to the public. Here you are, it's done and finished. However, there are plenty of cars that were in the making or tracks that they weren't able to add in there. So, I feel okay that I'm purchasing them for a few more dollars, or $7. I think we got a car pack and a track, to actually I'm giving, or I'm adding some more play value and functionality to my game. I got new cars, new functionality, new cars that don't even exist in the game actually with the prototype. And so, I mean, how do you feel about, that they don't always finish putting everything in, and they make you pay for it later?
Well, okay, like with Forza, I get that there's only so much space on the disc, and they cram pack that baby full. That's a Blu-ray, and it's what, a 50 gigabyte game, so it's pretty much the whole damn disc. There's no doubt about that. They packed everything in there out of the gate that they could put in there. And the fact they have more expansion items like that, it's not a bad thing to me. Destiny was a complete game that was tore into pieces to intentionally sell this chunk at $30, this chunk at $50, this chunk at $80, or however they wanted to piecemeal that complete game up. And the expansion pack becomes part two, what they had initially planned to be an expansion pack. That's completely the wrong way to do it, the way Destiny handled it. Now, that's why I'm so sore-assed about the Taken King. I have bought and paid for all the expansions up to prior to that. Taken King comes out, they pulled functionality out of the game that you have to buy the Taken King to regain.
That's cheap.
I can't do strikes. I can't do raids. And they pulled a lot of my gear down to where it feels weaker than it did, even in the same areas that I've been through. And I was like, well, you know what? Instead of buying the expansion for Destiny, I'm going to buy Halo 5. And
see, there's another thing with Halo 5. They sold $29.99, the expansion right whenever you got it. So the first, I think it's 6 or 8 weeks that you have the game, you get 5 packs of cards to open up that will give you, in-game guns and vehicles and power-ups and stuff like that. But after the 6 or 8 weeks, I don't remember what it was, is up, it's gone. And if you want those power-ups again, you've got to reinvest $30 into it. And it's just like
a lot of those power-ups were also the same things that you can get by random chance by playing the game and dumping your points, your rec points down. So if that was like only way you could get those items, I might be a little more offended by it. but if I still have the same chance to get it just by playing the game at some other time, I might not be as upset. But it's still kind of a dick move.
Yeah. Hey, Dave, you played iRacing for a while, right?
Yep.
Okay, so you start out with just a handful of cars, and if you actually want to buy a car or the tracks, you have to purchase those separately.
You start in with one car, and to get a new car in the game, you have to use real money to buy another car to get into any other class, or to move on from, like, but they only give you a choice of the low class cars. You don't even get a choice of any class. You have your C class, or D, I think, or even lower. So
So I know that James Mines played it a lot, and
yep.
he won a lot of races and stuff. Is that something like to get as competitive and play as much as him? You're going to have to invest a lot of money into it, or could he have came up by just $10-$20?
The thing about iRacing is it's a monthly fee period. It's $100 a
Oh,
year.
oh, I didn't know
Holy
that. I thought it was
crap.
free to play.
Yeah, man. You pay $100 a year. That's the minimum. Now, if you pay a monthly fee instead of that whole $99.99, it's actually more per
Right.
month if you do it per month. So, um, not only do you have to pay a fee monthly or yearly, but you also have to buy everything inside the game that you want. The other thing that you might think is interesting, if they have special event races, you have to donate to a charity before you're allowed to race in that event.
Oh, jeez.
So when one of the hurricanes hit somewhere and they want, yes, it's a good thing, but if you wanted to race in the event, you would donate money to New Jersey's,
Right.
for the fund.
Well, let me ask you: do you think they did that to keep the idiots out?
Yeah, because I can't argue that thought line because there was a lot of times playing Forza on the 360 that you run into guys that just
Just take the field out, start the race. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
stupid stuff
well,
like that.
well, I just want you to know, in my opinion, and I've tried it out for a while, it doesn't keep the idiots out. There are just there are just as many idiots in that game, and I will even get on the mic and I would tell guys, and there'd be a couple guys in there, but you have 20 guys on the field, and be like, guys, the first turn is coming up. Chill out. Let's all take the curve together, and then you guys can start picking off, and passing which car. No, never happens. Everybody
Right,
crashes right into you. 17 cars are damaged, and if you're damaged in that game, you're damaged.
right.
Yeah.
You,
You're out
you,
of the game, out of the race.
if you can even hobble to the pit and put a tire, that doesn't mean that your aerodynamics are completely jacked. I mean, it's crazy. I did not enjoy the game. I don't even know how people do enjoy it,
Mm.
because I don't know. I don't even how to describe it. I could go on for hours probably, so I don't want to get too deep
You
into
just want to qualify first. That's the only way you could enjoy it, right?
it. um,
Get the lead and then get in front.
yeah, no. I mean, the thing is, when you have to turn, you have to brake. So if you're in first, there's still 5 cars that are like within a car's length
See how
ahead of
far they
you,
can punch you, right?
and they'll still cut the curve and still knock you off the track. And you're like,
Right.
could you have
Well, I
waited?
mean,
We have
these are
9 or
these are people that
20
can't
laps.
drive the interstate that are trying to drive race cars that do the same dumb shit. They'll wait till the
Right.
guy is in the crest of the turn and then dynamite their brakes right up on his ass, trying not to run into him.
Oh,
Dave,
yeah.
if I could answer your Forza question, um, I'm okay with paying for that content as long if it was not planned as being originally in the game. If from the very beginning they said, okay, these cars are special purchase cars and not, oh, we can't fit this in the game, so let's just make people pay for it later. I can't get behind that if that's the way it is, because we have day one patches all the time. There's no reason why they couldn't include extra stuff they couldn't fit on the disc. So as long as those cars were from the beginning planned to be purchasable, then I'm okay
I
with
mean,
that.
we'll never know that. They're not going to tell us that.
Right.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, all right, Rick. What
Right.
about
Two
what,
things real quick though.
go ahead.
In Halo and all the little buffs and little things you're talking about, and in Forza, when I can purchase cars that you can't get, does it change the game? To me, absolutely not. It does
No.
not make me win the game better.
Oh, I
and
agree.
It does not make me be able to beat anyone else on the track because they can modify a car they don't have access to just as good as every car I can. So it's balanced. I just wanted to know what you thought about. Does it change the game for you? It doesn't. I don't know.
As long as it's not a supercar. I mean, like, one that's ridiculously powerful. Yeah.
Well, what I hate is, and I'm finding this out by going back and playing Black Ops 2 that came out like 5 years ago. Unless I go on and buy the DLC for it, like first of all, I only have 3 or 4 maps, which I'm fine with, but it takes me 5 or 10 minutes to find a game. Now, if I would get the DLC, there's a lot more people playing it, so it's one of those things where I get that they try to sell that with it, but I think they should become free after a certain amount of time
Yeah.
with maps. I think
That'd be
if the map's been out for 3 months or
See,
6
that's
months, or they're releasing the next
that's
they
why
had
next
I
one.
like how
new
they're
game.
approaching it on Halo. Is the maps are just free. We
Right.
just got a bunch of free maps, and some of them are Warzone maps, which are complicated in design and layout. So, I'm not as bothered with with the option to buy things that are not necessarily need to have, and I might throw down on that just to kind of support the cause if I'm going to constantly get new maps with it.
hmm So since we've kind of spilled over into DLC, let's pull that into the forefront. Um, so we've already kind of touched on some of those. Of course, DLC has never it stumbled in the beginning. How could we all forget the famous horse armor debacle with Oblivion? What was it? You paid what, $15 for horse armor that didn't do shit other than make your horse look pretty?
Just
Yeah.
yeah, just made it look different.
Right. So there is obviously a right and wrong way to do DLC as well.
What do you think about the Dying Light that was just released? I don't know if it was this past Tuesday or if it was last Tuesday, but from my understanding, they re-released Dying Light, and like they just had the 2 or 3 DLCs combined it on it. I think they put maybe another level or something, and now it's
Well,
back to $60.
Well, I'm okay with that because the DLC for Dying Light actually adds almost the same amount of content that the original game had. It's almost like getting another game.
Oh wow.
Yeah, the following. Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous how much extra. It's more like a traditional expansion pack as opposed to DLC.
Okay.
So I'm okay with that because it offers so much. I mean, if I got to pay $30 for that DLC, if it costs that much, I'm okay with that because I'm almost getting a whole brand new game or another game with it.
Are you getting it, by the way?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, actually, I
Um,
bought the season pass already, so I'm already going to get it. Yes.
Awesome.
I was
Which
actually
we'll talk
debating
about season
on.
passes later.
I was actually debating on getting it when I saw it on Xbox Live the other day. I'd
I,
seen.
I picked it up for $20, and then I knew that they were going to release some more content for it. And what I'm hoping is when I finally get around to playing through it, then maybe they'll run across 30% off weekly deal or something, and I can pick up the season pass that way.
I think one
So
thing that
you
kind of.
you won't be able to buy the following at a discounted price, like as in DLC, not have to pay $60.
Nope, not at all. I'll have to pay the full $60.
Really?
Yep.
Now, see,
I have
that's
to look at
something I
that
don't care for.
because that doesn't sound right. I would totally disagree with that.
Yeah, Xbox. There's no way, like, you can't upgrade. I can buy the DLC, but the DLC is not going to have the new pack in it.
I see.
Is it possible? Is it going to be maybe something that's optionally done through the game itself at some point, where you can just go in there, kind of like with South Park Stick of Truth? They have an option where you can get into your store to access those upgrades and or add-ons and add them in.
Oh hell! Actually, I already have the following. Nice. Anyway, sorry.
I take it did come out this week or last
uh,
week?
apparently, I think it was released back at the end of January. Actually.
Oh, okay.
Well, no, that was the original release date for Dying Light. I'll have to look for the actual release date for the following. It was recent, if I'm not mistaken. Now, see, on Steam, they do have it for $60 as well, but I think this is the original game plus the following. but you should still have an option to be able to buy the following without having to pay $60 for it. Like here on Steam, you could pay $20 and get the following. So
I know the only thing, and Microsoft tried it and then they got rid of it. And this was whenever Wolfenstein, the New Blood was the
New
first one that
Order.
was released. The New Order. When the New Order was released, it was $59, and then that they call it DLC, which is the Old Blood.
yeah,
I think it's called the Old Blood. And if you owned Wolfenstein, the one that came out, then you could get it for $19.99. If you didn't own it, it cost you $29.99.
See, I
And now
think
I
a
believe
lot of
it's
that
like
is kind of
$19 or whatever.
developer optional. You know, if they want to take the time to separate that content and make it available in a separate slot to be downloaded. I know where I developed a refaction on the indie games. You have very little option to work with like downloaded content and stuff, but if you go to that arcade game level, it's got your DLC to where you can piecemeal all that crap out.
All right, well, let
And
me ask you this: if Rofaxon would have had, you pay $1.99 for extra levels or whatever, as a, you being the developer, what are they like? Does Microsoft take the whole portion of that, or will you
usually the
even
way
see
that
anything?
works is it's you get 70% of it. 30% of it goes into the storage and the distribution and the handling of the credit card system that they all deal with. The only thing I have to do is just basically upload the game, and that's the end of my concern with it, unless there's updates to be made and I've got to make modifications to it and stuff. But other than that, it's a real simple process where they take 30% of it and they deal with the worst part of the headache. And these developers, like, there was a message where I think they are discussing about making indies backwards compatible with Xbox One. And if I had the option to resell the game as an Xbox One title or just check box it and say it's okay, I would let the backwards compatibility handle it. I mean, for that game, it's simple, and most of the indie titles are. So they're simple enough. There's no need to rebuild the wheel to put it on a new platform. Just that project's done. Move on.
Right.
Okay, do you guys have any games that you know of that you've played that you think are a pay to win game? That the only way you can play it, or the only way you could really win it, is to pay? I mean, similar, that basketball's game sounded a little bit like it, but do you know any that you're just like, I'm never playing that game? That game is literally
Diablo 3 when it first came out.
I tried to play Smite, and I feel like I need to dump money into that to be able to be successful at it.
I totally agree with you on that one because I play it. I really enjoy the game, but there's no way I'm throwing down the prices they're asking on some of those little upgrades and things like that.
Diablo 3's auction house was not not appropriately put into the game. I don't even know how to say it, but like it had more than flaws than just like um, um I don't know. There was 1,000 things wrong with it. They knew that, and then they took it out completely, which made way more sense. And I agree with you. I love the Diablo 3. Obviously, you guys know that. I mean, there's absolutely hooked on it. But the microtransactions from it are gone, and there's no reason to have it, and it plays better without it.
All right. Do you think in
agreed.
games nowadays, do you think the developer makes more money off actually selling the game or actually the
Not
DLC?
anymore, man.
DLC. I can tell you personally
DLC.
from I'm not even going to disclose the amount, but let me just say I have put a ridiculous amount of money in World of Tanks. I'll just say it. I'll say it this way: I have paid for that game at full price. We'll say $60 5 times over at least, and I'm being very modest with that. So they're making more money off of DLC and microtransactions as opposed to actually selling the game itself.
I'd have to agree, Rick, because the amount of effort that goes into the actual development process, you can recoup that with an upfront, let's be done with it price, and then have a small crew make some expansion materials for it and then cover that cost with the expansions cost. But this is basically that Japanese developer point of view of making money super fast off super small work, light work, make a shell of a game, throw it out there for free or low cost, and then nickel and dime the player until his butt sucking buttermilk. I mean, it's really, really bad the way some of these are laid out.
So do you think games like DayZ and some of these other games that are just in beta, do you think they're just in beta because they want to see people play it, or do you think it's that they want to know if there's a market, or are they trying to kind of miss out on the whole DLC, let you play it up front, and then they add more content, and that's what your preview is?
I think some of them use it definitely to see if there's interest in it, but it's kind of already in a commitment if you're doing early access, at least on Steam. So you do have to produce a final product. But for DayZ specifically, they knew it was going to sell because the mod was insanely popular before they decided to make it standalone, and um, it they don't have to do that to they don't have to milk money from their fans. They already know that there's interest. They're doing it for playtesting, to be honest with you.
And
Yeah.
I did see where the H1, whatever the other zombie one, it's finally getting a release date, and it's like
H1Z1.
yeah,
Let me go off on that game for a second because now it's two games, not one but two. So you have the more survival, not necessarily single player experience, but the survival experience, and then you have the battle royale version, which is basically Call of Duty in an open world, which makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. Go play Call of Duty if you want that.
Yeah. Well, I just don't like how these survival games are starting to finish them. That's not the purpose of the survival games. I mean, even Ark is still in beta or whatever.
I'll tell you,
But
the best survival game right now that I have played probably in the last 5 years is probably The Long Dark. It's a completely new concept on how you play survival games, and it's literally survival. It has absolutely nothing to do with zombies. It's just you and a world turned ugly, and you have to find food, you have to find shelter, you have to find clothes, and you almost in a Minecraft-esque way use materials and items around like shelves and stuff like that to break them down into base materials to make new shit with.
so does that game offer microtransactions? Like, can you buy a shirt or you buy food or lodging or
I think you
however?
pay the $20 whenever you get the early access on Xbox Live and on Steam Greenlight. And I don't know if you have to pay another fee once the game's fully released, but I do know that the game is going to be episodic in the story mode. But the story mode looks really good. It's
Now,
definitely different. You know,
now
you're just
would
basically battling like wildlife and things like that, as opposed to zombies and guys with guns. So it's something new and different.
well, would you consider games like, and you said with different episodes, it just made me think of it like the Resident Evil Revelation. It came in 4 parts. Life is Strange. Just a handful of them, like a lot of the Telltale games. It's
Well,
like
yeah,
you buy this one for $10,
Minecraft,
this one for
Walking
$20. I
Dead.
mean,
Well, I think he's talking about episodic games.
Yeah,
Like,
like Walking Dead, um, Minecraft story mode, which is actually pretty damn fun.
so is it? Do you think it's going to end up something like all games are going to come to that eventually?
whatever
That
makes
way,
the
like
most money.
It would make sense financially for certain games to be done that way. Do
because I bought Resident Evil Revelations 2, and they were selling each episode, all 4 of them, for $5 a piece. And then I bought the season pass or the DLC, whatever, for $24.99, and that gave me like 2 character outfits, I think, and it unlocked some like bonus level or whatever. But they released another DLC after that, so if you want to get all the content in the game, you're looking at $50, which
Almost the same price of a full game.
right.
Yeah, pretty much.
But
So
they,
what
they
do you think? I mean, about speaking of which, we're talking about paying about certain parts of a game. But what about Star Citizen?
Haha, yes.
You have to buy a spacecraft to be able to get the game. Like, I guess technically it's free to play, so to speak, but if you don't have a spacecraft, then you're just walking around an empty hangar.
Right.
But the thing is, they're not cheap. Like the cheapest one is like $75. But there are
What?
there are ships that cost several hundred
Oh yeah.
of real money. And actually it gets worse. But there's like some ships worth, say, I don't know, like $1,200.
Okay, Rick's reaction there was perfect
Yes.
because that's what people should do when they drop stupid information like that about a game. They say, "Yeah, it's going to cost you $1,200 for this one ship to be able to actually play the game, but the game's for free." And it's like,
I'm looking
whatever.
at it right now. The game looks it looks pretty fun.
That it looks amazing, but it's been in development for God, I
Right.
don't even know how long. So people have been really frustrated with the game for the fact that people bought a ship 2 to 3 years ago and have only been able to play it in the last, say, 3 months or something. October back, does that sound right, Rick?
Something like that. Yeah.
But there are people who put like $3,000 into the game.
This is your
Where
Millennium Falcon, though. This is
yeah,
your
exactly.
Right. Well, I mean, this is a byproduct of early access and kickstarting games like this. You will have these expectations now that people have put money in, and sometimes those expectations by the donors are not really realistic. I mean, how long does it take to make a AAA game? And are we being really fair to the people who make Star Citizen?
Well, I can say honestly, for an
Yeah.
indie title, Rushed, you can do it in 6 weeks for a simple 2D game. But you start talking about 3D and texture mapping and modeling, audio and video, and all this stuff being piled together and debugged. It's a lot
There's
of
a game
expense
packages.
that people just don't
And
understand. I
if you
don't
guys see that
think.
link there, you can take a quick look and
Oh,
look
yeah.
at that. If you'd like to purchase, there's a $1,100 one on the second row.
Uh,
And
Yep.
Dad had a
but
good comment in the
scroll down to the third row, and you'll be like,
10,000.
WTF?
Dad. Dad had a good comment in the live chat. He goes, "If you have to pay money for something, then it's not free. End of story."
I don't
Right.
disagree. It's just a
I
play on
don't think
words.
Star Citizen was ever meant to be free. I mean, I got the impression right from the beginning that I was going to have to
Be right
drop
back.
some money on a ship before I could even play it.
Yeah,
And
what
if I
they
I know that
consider.
up front, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I think the thing that they are considering free is that there's no monthly fee like a lot of MMOs.
Right. And I don't, and
So,
that's smart because they couldn't get away with charging that, considering how much you have to invest just to take a step in the world.
yeah, and MMOs have almost gone all free with just microtransactions anyway.
That is the way
Well,
to do it with
yeah,
MMOs.
which
That's
is
the
I
way to
exactly
do
agree.
it.
what we're talking about. MMOs should not charge $60 to own it or get it. You should be
Mhm.
able to get it for free, and then if you want to get all the extra perks about it, then you throw a few dollars at it here and there.
Yeah.
I see nothing wrong with that.
Invest in it, what you want out of it. That's
That's right.
perfectly all right.
If you love it and you want to wait till your paycheck comes in, you want to spend $60 every paycheck on it, see nothing wrong with that.
Right.
And that's kind of like with my rock band habit. You know,
That's
I've
true.
I've had all 4 games. I've exported each game. I just now got the Rock Band 1 content for free. It just showed up as ready to install.
Fantastic.
And so now I'm up to 485 songs. Or packages. Now, in some of those packages, there may be 10 songs because I bought like No Doubt's whole album. But this is over the span of what, Dave? 6 years? Give or
Longer than
take?
that, hasn't it?
Probably in the ballpark of 6 years. I don't know. It's probably been longer. Like
That
say.
is DLC and transactions handled right. They have
Agreed.
allowed me to keep my content I paid for in Rock Band 1
From
and use it
game
with
to game to
each,
game.
yeah, all the way up to a new platform.
The only game I have so far that I, Guitar Hero, I did that with some of the games, but none of those transferred over very good. They did a terrible job at that.
Yeah,
But
and,
but
and
the Just Dance games,
yeah,
if I buy the 2014 version and I bought songs with it, when you get the 2015, you can go back and re-download 2014 ones
that's
that are
nice.
on that one, but you also get your songs that you bought automatically in the game.
Yeah, and see, that's DLC
Right.
handled right.
Yeah, yeah.
And as long as other companies, for whatever wild stretch of the imagination, would happen to be watching this live show that we're doing just on a fluke, if there's anything you take away from what we've discussed tonight, is that look at Harmonix. They're doing it right as far as how they treat their customer base and how much they're charging, what you get, and how far it gets to go with you. They go the extra mile with that stuff. A lot of these companies, you'll show out $30 like with what James mentioned, and then they'll have a special edition that has all this stuff in it and maybe a little extra, but you can't buy that little extra and add it to the other package so that yours is the same.
Now we
That's
have to
kind of a
verify
cheap
that because I
shot.
can do that on the PC.
Oh, okay. So that is
For-
doable on PC.
On what
At
for
least-
what game?
Well, we were talking about Dying Light and the new big expansion, the following, and how they re-released the game at $60 with the following expansion. At least right now for James, it appears he's got no way to get the following with his current version of of Dying Light without paying $60 for Dying Light and the following. Now I checked on Steam and I can get the following by itself for $20. I'm assuming somewhere buried in Xbox Live you can do that too.
I don't know. Xbox Live, they are. If you screw up when you purchase anything, that's on you. Like, let's say you bought Call of Duty Black Ops 3 for $59. Well, you want to go in and get the DLC, and you're not paying attention or whatever, and you accidentally buy the full bundle version with the season pass and the game for $99. Well, then you've purchased the game twice. They will not give you a refund for anything like that, and
That's because there's
it's
too many idiots out there. It's
I agree, but it's just one of those things where like Steam will let you try out a game now, and
Right.
then you can return it if it's whatever 4 hours or
I
something
know,
to
man, it's
play. Or
fantastic.
Microsoft should be a little more proactive with that instead of making people pay a penalty, more or less.
You still can. It's just a little more difficult. You can't just click a button on your Xbox and say, "I want my money back," but you can call them. You have to create a ticket, and then you have to give your reasoning, and they'll I guess, a sort of a jury. It's probably one person says yes, 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 or whatever, and allows people to get their money back. You
Now,
can, but it's difficult.
I'd made a mistake and purchased one of the Rock Band music packs that had I think 8 songs in it, and I already had the songs separately. I was just when the game first came out, I was going down each new pack. I bought it when it came out that following Tuesday, and I grabbed this one, and I had already grabbed the individual songs without realizing it was already in a pack. When I called them up, they were really cool about it. They were like, okay, no big deal. We'll just, we'll nuke, those are dead files now. Just go back and we've reset everything for you. Go do it the way you wanted to do it. And that was pretty much all there was to the conversation. It was over in whatever the wait time was to talk to someone.
Wow. See, they should still be proactive because in Steam, if you put something in your cart that you already own, it'll tell you before you purchase it.
I know, you're right.
I absolutely agree. I know they do put, if you go to an expansion for Call of Duty, or especially the bizarre setup that they have for Destiny, where they got this pack mixed with that pack, and this one with that one over there, but not this one over here. It'll tell you on there. Now note, this has this, this, and this. So if you buy this, you are basically paying for this twice. If you want this configuration, buy that package, and it'll tell you what the name of it is. So they do have a disclaimer in there, but it's buried at the damn bottom. That should be at the top, first thing, front and center, to make sure the consumer is not being click happy. Because let's face it, they are.
Have we all seen the South Park episode about the microtransactions for games?
I have not seen that yet.
Where it's all microtransaction was invented by Canada. And that is why Canada they have gold floors and everything because people are playing games with microtransactions.
Right. Oh, it's
actually it's an amazing episode. You guys should go and type it in. But I think we can definitely say that they're here to stay. They're never going away, unfortunately. But let me ask you this: when you purchase a console, would you, if you could purchase a console for $1,000 or $1,500 to be able to unlock, you know, you get all the free DLC, all the free season passes from Microsoft or from this company, like would that be something that you guys would do? Like,
If they guarantee that I will get my money's worth out of paying that much money, like there'll be so many titles with so many season passes and DLCs, and okay, I might be open to that.
what about
I'd be game
companies?
for that because you're probably going to spend that in the first 6 months owning the damn thing anyway.
Well, what about like if Bungie or Activision or Rockstar or whatever, any of the games, if they sold yearly passes, would that be something?
I think EA Access is the best way to handle it, flat out. I mean, after a
It
while, you pay that yearly fee. After a while, they drop it in the vault. You get it for free most of the time with expansions, and you just play the shit out of it.
I had it, and all the games that are in the vault are games that if I wanted to play, I would either purchase on my own instead of waiting the 6 months. I mean, there's just it's not worth it to me now.
Well, see, like for me, like with Dragon Age Inquisition, I would have never have tried that game. I would have went with Skyrim, The Witcher, something like that that was kind of along those lines before I would have ever grabbed Inquisition. It came up free, and I ended up finding a game that I liked because I wasn't about to pay. I think it was $70 with all the crap out of the gate. I was like, the hell with that.
I'm glad you brought up The Witcher. CD Projekt Red is another company that does DLC right. So
Yes.
before they even offered any paid DLC, they gave you 15 free DLC pieces that they released incrementally, right off the top. So they're onto something, I think.
I do too. I think some of the companies where they've been digging around trying to figure out how in the hell to do this right, I think they're slowly starting to figure out some right paths and wrong paths. It's just like anything else with technology. You're going to have some kind of learning curve going on.
I just the gaming industry has changed so much since we first got involved with it. It's such a money making market now because it's so successful that those considerations are coming first before the content of an actual game, and it just worries me how far we're going in that direction.
What do you think if, say, Microsoft or even Sony for their console said, if you guys at the beginning of the year in January, you buy a $500 voucher, it's $500, and you get to pick any 10 digital games you want throughout the year.
I'm on that.
It's yours. Like, and during the year, if any of those have beta testing, you get to do the beta testing for it, and then you decide if you want to buy it.
I'm against that, and I'm against that because there's always the Sega fear that
They'll go out of business.
Yeah, absolutely. And then they're like, sorry, here we're giving you these games you can play, but they're there might be games you're not interested in, or I don't know. I if they had different tiers, maybe a 5-pack, a 10-pack, something like that, that would be more appealing to me. But it seems like I can't trust developers. They'll release one good game, and then you don't. They put out 5 other games, but it's 3 years before their next big one comes back out again.
Well, like for each of us, come on, I have an Xbox One, you have a PlayStation 4. When you bought it from day one, I don't think you thought it was going out of business anytime soon, right?
No, not at all. Not
right.
At all.
So that's when I think in some instances you have a safe bet on that, because if Microsoft had a $500 thing and said you could pick any 10 games you want, and you click on it, it's yours, and you download its digital copy throughout the entire year,
especially if they offer it at a slightly discounted price too. Say, for instance, next X2 comes out or whatever, and it's $400-$500, and if they can offer this voucher you're talking about at maybe like $200 for however many games, I would be on board with that for sure at launch.
Well, yeah, and what I was thinking about is if you did the $500 voucher, everybody else has to pay $60 for the game. You're only paying $50.
Oh, okay.
But then
you $10 off for every game you want throughout the year. But what it is they'd be guaranteed that you're going to purchase 10 games off of them during the year.
Well, this is how I look at it. What if, let's say, they do that, and I want to get Dying Light, the new Dying Light, but I want to wait until December. Well, in December it might be $29. What if I spread it out and pick up things differently? Then my total may only come to $380, where yours comes to $500. Will I get a credit for next year? I mean, they're not sending me a check in the mail.
No, see, it's not based off money. You're buying 10 credits.
10
Okay.
titles.
Each one of those credits gives you one game. It doesn't matter what it costs before or after you decide.
Okay.
That's what I would say. You're buying 10 tickets that says no matter what the game costs $60 up front, you're getting it for 50. But if you waited and it's only 30, you're still getting it. It's
So you're basically picking and choosing out of the pile of games which ones you want for, regardless of the price. You just get one of those counts out of 10 is for one game. Regardless, I'd be good with that, honestly. I mean, I can find 10 games that I enjoy to play pretty easy on Xbox. I have no doubt about that, or even on PC. But I do want to give you guys a heads up. We're about 5 minutes short of an hour here, so we can take a break and maybe go a little longer if you want, or we can call it quits here pretty soon. But I did want to point out Randy had a good point. He said, I sometimes go 6 months without finding a single good game. I would not pay $500 for future games that I may or may not want. And I think there's a lot of gamers out there that would take his point of view on that.
Where do we see someone type that in?
I mean,
That's on YouTube.
I agree with that.
He can only see it or something. Okay.
But
you can see it too, Dave. You just have to load up the website and be sure you mute it. Otherwise, it'll
echo.
Yeah.
All right. So that's fine. Go ahead.
No, it's one of those things where how many games a year do you buy that no matter how much you watch videos on YouTube or you watch someone stream it, do you not feel like you get your money's worth? Because there are tons of games that I buy that's like, this wasn't worth $60. I have a huge Xbox One library, and maybe 30% of them are actual games that if I could go back, I'd have purchased.
They would have to price this voucher system perfectly for this to work. So not $500. I mean, you might be saving $10 a title, but it's a lot to pay up front.
Sure, but what if there was a $250 one for 5 games? I'm not saying that you can't have various versions. I'm just saying I don't want to throw something out there for you to sort of food for thought type thing,
Something else to throw in a system for enticement.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a microtransaction, so to speak, because you don't really, I don't know, you're purchasing like little tickets for whatever it might be later in the year. You're like, hey, there's a game I didn't know it was coming out, and I want to grab it.
See where this comes in handy is for people like me that do a lot of my purchasing around income tax time. I can say, well, I'm going to probably buy 10 games this year, and I could just throw down that out of the income tax. It's not coming out of the finances for the house. And a lot of people are in my kind of position. Not a lot of people are shitting money out both ends. And I can take those credits and hang on to them and go, well, I know Halo's hitting this year, Gears of War's hitting this year, and I'm pretty damn sure I'm going to dig both those. So I know that's 2 of the credits. Well, that still leaves me with, 8 more to play around with, and I may find a demo and I go, this one's going to be worth the credit.
Speaking of which, if we only got like a few minutes left that we're just going to BS about, I mean, who's buying? This is a pretty new part of a good new part of the year. What's everybody buying this year? Who has a game they know for a fact they're buying this year?
2 games. 2 games. The new South Park game, which is based off the Stick of Truth, because I'm playing Stick of Truth right now, and oh my God, is it hysterical.
It's great. It's a great game.
It's morbid, and it scares the hell out of me that I laugh at some of the stuff I do in it, but oh my God, it's fun as hell.
What is one of them? The sneaka
Cup of
spell?
Cup of spell.
They fart on them,
and you throw it.
And shoot it at them.
That
Dave?
and that and a
All right, go ahead.
Nagasaki. But the other game that I would definitely get is Gears 4, without a doubt.
Oh
Who?
yeah, that's excellent game. Yeah, excited about that.
Uh, for me, it's going to be Total War Warhammer.
Dude, that game looks
Hell
amazing.
yeah.
Yes, it does. I
Well,
cannot wait.
It's a PC only game though, right?
Right. Yeah,
Okay.
made by the Creative Assembly.
Any others?
I'm really looking forward to Quantum Break, but the most
Yeah.
anticipated game is Uncharted 4.
Oh, yeah.
I love the other ones. They're so good. In a way, I know they're going to put out a new Mass Effect, and I like Mass Effect, but I don't know. It seems like it's rushed. I know it's been 2 or 3 years since 3 came out, but it just seems like there should be more time
That
for it.
Quantum
But
Break game looks
interesting.
crazy interesting. Very, yeah, it looks amazing. But of
I've
course,
heard that.
I'm curious how they're going to handle all the controls in this. Is it going to be something where you're awkwardly like trying to figure out how to steer your guy and do all this shit at the same time, or is it going to be a real natural flow to it? Like,
I would say there's going to be a steep learning curve myself. I watched a demo at E3, and you guys can YouTube it. There's a guy trying to play it, and he's using every button on the controller to do something like jump, shift, turn, slow down, grab, throw, shoot, roll. I mean,
Now, see, if it was like Titanfall, where it feels like a fluid motion, where I'm running
I
and
think it'll be
popping
like
off
that.
walls and climbing on ledges, or like Halo 5 is like that. You just jump up, hit A again, you pull yourself up, and you start hosing. If that's the way it's set up, that's going to be a great game. But if the controls are all awkward and it takes a physics degree or something like that to understand the game, I think a lot of people are going to be put off by it.
Well, mine's easy. It's Mirror's Edge Catalyst.
Absolutely.
The Mirror's Edge game is probably one of the few games that not only did I beat it the first time around, but I went through and beat it in 2 other difficulties. And then on the 360 edition, there were time trial different levels that were download content. So I downloaded those and bought those, and then I played against other people online to see who could do the fastest. Absolutely one of the funnest games I ever played on the 360.
To give people an idea just how rare that is with David, there's only 2 other times I know of a game hooking him like that has been. That was East Book 1 and 2 for the TurboGrafx CD-ROM, because we basically beat it with every possible way you could beat it. And then there was Zelda. He went through the whole game without a sword until the last possible time where there was no way to do it except for to get the sword. Literally went through the whole damn game with a candle and a shield.
That's right.
And beat the hell out of it.
I did the second part of the game too when it resets.
And that's even worse.
Right. You need to do that again and stream it on Steam, man.
Yes, vidcap that.
Because
and what's funny is I absolutely have that right now to play.
I mean, there's a very large retro gaming community on Twitch, and they eat that shit up, man.
Guys, there might be something fun in that to do, like get 4 of us to play like an old Gauntlet style game or something like that, and just Twitch stream it for the fun of it, and
put a cam in a room with all 4 of us behind it playing this old game.
Yep.
Well, do we want to go ahead and wrap up?
Sure, doesn't matter to me.
It's 9 o'clock. I didn't. Yes, Dave, you're very excited.
I'm so excited. I am excited for that game because it's like The Long Dark. It's unique. It's different. They actually put some effort in. They put effort into the design. Will you get out of here?
In case you didn't know, this is backwards compatible on Xbox One now, which I thought was awesome.
Hey, so is Stick of Truth. That's where I've been playing it. It's on my X1.
This was only.
Which one is it? Oh, dude, Metamore Jupiter. Holy shit.
Original disc.
Oh my god.
I actually
as I said in my
video on my YouTube channel for that.
Hey David,
played through a couple levels. It was fun.
Here you go. This one's waiting for you to crack the top on.
Oh, it's still wrapped.
Probably better not.
Right.
Let's see.
I know. I I think it might be fun to get him to try this one though.
Oh, without a Nintendo Power Strategy Guide, yeah, that's gonna be rough. Well,
Well,
I guess you
this
got the
one's got
internet now.
this one's
Oh
got.
no, get the Game Shark out of here, man.
Oh, sweet.
Game Shark.
Hey, James, what about this?
Oh, Game
I
Genie.
don't have one of those in here. I'm in my sister's room from when she was a child, so there's not a whole lot.
Well, I know there's one that James will remember for sure.
Yep, I actually have that in the other room.
Techno Super Bowl.
Absolutely.
Jeez, Dave, there's so many of these
We
games
can-
sitting here that we played through when we had that NES and my brothers that it's stupid.
Do you find it harder
Actually,
nowadays
have a
to
whole 1 hour session of just showing retro games over and over. Here, look at this one, Hal. Look at this one.
We need
Hey,
to
you'd
make
be
another episode
surprised.
just for that.
I was mixed up with a group of guys that was from a
We got
website
a
called.
crap load of in there.
I was with a group of guys from a website called collections.com, and they used to do 9 man webcasts like this, and that's all we did was we would show off our different classic games, and we'd have hundreds of people watching and being like, holy shit, I'll give you this for it. And one guy actually sold one of his games while we were doing that. He's like, hell yeah, I'll take $1,000 for that.
Well, I was telling Dave a couple weeks ago they have a thing in Tampa. They're called barcades, where it literally looks like imagine the Banana Joes that they used to have in Huntington.
Oh,
Imagine that, but instead of on the dance floor, they just have arcade games, and they still have the bars in the same exact places. And
Tell me about that.
the machines take your credit cards. You don't have to worry about bringing a pocket full of quarters in, and you just swipe your card. And you can sit there and play, and it's just nerds getting hammered and playing, centipedes. So
Where
that
do
would
I
be
sign
too
me up?
fun.
Where do I go?
Here you go, Dave.
All right.
There's the one that
Nintendo,
started
right,
it all for us.
You want me
what
to
is
bring
that? I
one
can't.
up and
I
share
can't
it?
say it.
Rygar.
And
All
when
right,
I
well.
went, the buddy that I went with, he's just trying to get past the aliens in Time Pilot, and then Dave's like, yeah, he's got 5 levels of that, and
Right.
All right.
Well, I guess we
I
should
gotta-
probably wrap it up here.
I gotta be
Gary,
honest.
go ahead.
To add to what James said earlier about the difficulty, yeah, those games are a hell of a lot harder. A hell
Is
of a
that
lot
because they were
harder.
programmed poorly?
No, the controls on a lot of those games are snappy, fast, and really responsive. I mean, nobody can argue with the control scheme in Mario or Zelda or any of the Rygar or any of those games. They all
Yeah, but there were a
handled
lot of-
exceptionally well. They
There were a lot of
expect-
turds out there, though.
There were, by all means. Riddle of the Sphinx is one of the 2600 games that come to mind. But,
Sorry.
honestly, in all sincerity, a lot of those games expected the player to want to try to complete the task at hand, but didn't want to sit there and go, press your A button to shoot, press your B button to do this. They didn't sit there and treat you like you were a moron. Most modern games are like, press A to attack, press B to jump. Don't fall in holes. I'm smart enough to know not to fall in a damn hole.
Well, it's not you that they're making that for. It's for other new gamers. The market has changed quite a bit.
Well, it's a really good video a guy did on Mega Man. He was showing that how the level layout was really intelligent. The first one on, I think it's Cutman's stage, the platform comes across like this, and there's no cut in the rope, so the platform comes across and goes back over. But you see the one below it come across, and it hits a break in the rope and drops like that. Without saying a word or displaying a single image on the screen, other than the game's graphics, the most intelligent human beings will go, okay, I don't want to be on that when it crosses that point. And you jump on the one platform, go back and forth, and you wait for it to get off that, and then you jump down on it. It introduces each, and I think it's level design that's more of the issue nowadays with them having to treat players stupid.
Well, also because most of these games are in open worlds now.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not a platformer anymore.
Let's wrap up this particular session, then we can talk about.
Right.
Yeah, sorry
Whatever.
guys, I didn't mean to.
Level design and all that good
I
stuff
don't
for
know,
another
like how
episode.
we can venture off into God knows what land.
Right.
Right.
Well,
I've still
everyone,
got to
thanks for
check
joining
out.
us.
I still got to check out that game engine you told me about on Amazon.
Yeah, Lumberyard. It's a Crytek engine. That's a different episode for a different time, though. So stop distracting us.
An Alex Krychek engine. So
Stop it. Anyways, I want to thank our audience for joining us again with this episode. I think this Saturday we're going to have the bigger episode, or we could do that next Saturday, Gary.
We could probably do it this Saturday. I should be home early enough in the day that I can get everything set up in time.
Well, we can.
I get
sort it
back
out.
into Tampa. I get back into Tampa at 6. So anytime after that.
Okay. Well, if we don't do it this Saturday, we'll definitely do it next Saturday. We'll talk about it later, though. Anyways, thanks for joining us again, and we'll catch you later.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Game on.
Yeah, we could talk forever with the old games, man.